I never thought something as simple as scrolling through Instagram could make my heart sink. My name is Emily Parker, and I've always considered myself pretty careful online. I work in marketing, I love my friends, and I thought my family knew me well enough to trust me. But one evening, as I was checking my notifications, I noticed something off. A few of my coworkers had been acting strangely at work. It wasn't obvious at first, just a weird glance here, a small smirk there, but it felt like whispers followed me wherever I went. Then my phone buzzed. A friend from college sent me a screenshot of a post I apparently made, but I didn't make it. I stared at it for a long time, disbelief making my fingers shake. The post had my name, my pictures, my style of writing, and yet the tone was mocking, rude, even cruel. I opened it again and again, hoping my tired eyes were lying to me. But it wasn't a mistake. Someone was impersonating me. At first, I thought it had to be a hacker, some random stranger messing with me. But the more I looked, the more I realized it wasn't random. This account knew things only my close friends and family knew. Inside jokes, little personal stories. It was like someone had access to my life in ways I didn't have. I tried to brush it off, telling myself I was overreacting. Maybe someone was just joking, right? But then a comment on the post made my stomach twist. Emily really thinks she's perfect. We all know the truth. My perfect life? My career? My friends? Was all of that about to be ruined by some stranger hiding behind my face online? That night, I lay awake scrolling through my phone, searching every corner of social media for the account. I knew I was going to find it eventually, but nothing could have prepared me for the feeling when I finally did. A new Instagram handle, one I hadn't seen before, used my name, my photos, my entire online persona, and it had been active for months. I felt a mix of fear and anger I hadn't known was possible. Someone I knew, someone close, was living my life online, twisting it, and probably laughing about it. But the most terrifying thought of all was realizing that this wasn't just online trolling. Whoever it was knew me. They knew my life. They knew my family. I tried to tell myself it would stop if I blocked it. I reported it. I even told a few friends to ignore it. But deep down, I felt the sinking certainty. This was only the beginning. And the person behind it, I was going to find out, even if it destroyed everything in the process. The next morning, I couldn't focus on work. My mind kept going back to that fake account. Every detail seemed familiar. My profile picture, my bio, even the captions. Whoever was behind this didn't just want to mimic me, they wanted to replace me. I decided to dig deeper. I created a new anonymous account and started following the fake profile. As I scrolled through the posts, my chest tightened. There were photos of me, ones I hadn't shared publicly, private snapshots from family gatherings, selfies from my bedroom. How could anyone have gotten these? Then came the comments. Friends I'd known for years were replying to posts I hadn't written. Some were confused, some were laughing. And the cruelest part, my cousin Rachel had liked almost every post. At first, I tried to tell myself it was coincidence. Maybe she stumbled across the account. But the more I watched, the more I realized this wasn't random. It hit me like a punch to the stomach. Rachel knew exactly what she was doing. I spent that entire weekend collecting screenshots, saving every post, every comment, every like. The more I documented, the angrier I became. How could she be so cruel? She had always seemed sweet, the fun, charming cousin who everyone adored. But this was deliberate. She was destroying my life from behind a screen, twisting my words, making people think I was someone I wasn't. I tried calling her once, pretending I didn't know anything. "Hey Rachel, have you seen this Instagram account?" I asked casually. "Oh, no, I haven't," she said, her voice light, almost playful. "Maybe it's one of those spam accounts." I wanted to scream. Her tone, that fake innocence, it was infuriating. She was enjoying this. By the end of the weekend, I realized I couldn't ignore it anymore. This wasn't a harmless prank. She had crossed boundaries I didn't even know existed. My private life was being broadcast to the world, twisted to make me look bad, and she called it a joke. "I don't care if it's a joke, Rachel," I said, trying to keep my voice steady despite the fury burning in my chest. "You're destroying my reputation. My friends, my coworkers, they don't know who to believe anymore. I can't just sit back and let this continue." Her tone softened again, dangerously sweet. "Emily, you're overreacting. Everyone makes mistakes online. Don't be so dramatic." I hung up after that, trembling. She had denied it, twisted it, even tried to make me doubt myself. But deep down, I knew the truth. I wasn't paranoid. She was clever, manipulative, and had been planning this for months. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. I realized confronting her wasn't going to stop her. If anything, it might make her more careful, more deceptive. I needed a plan, a way to gather proof so undeniable that even she couldn't twist it. And in that moment, a cold determination settled over me. She had started this, but she wasn't going to finish it. I would expose her, even if it meant shaking our entire family to the core. And Rachel? She was everywhere, liking posts, commenting subtly, making sure people saw her support of the account while I silently panicked. Every interaction felt like a trap. Every friendly text or comment was now loaded with suspicion. I didn't know who to trust anymore. The worst moment came at work. My manager called me into his office, his expression serious. "Emily, we need to talk about these emails you've been sending," he said. "Some of them, they don't sound like you. And some of your posts online, people are concerned." I froze. My pulse raced. "I didn't send them," I said, my voice shaking. "Someone's impersonating me." He frowned. "Are you sure? This is serious. People are talking, Emily. I need to know you're in control here." Control. I felt like I was losing it. Losing my friends, my family's trust, my job, all because of Rachel. That night, I cried for hours. I felt trapped in my own life, watching someone else slowly take it apart. I tried reasoning with myself. Maybe if I ignored it, it would stop. But deep down, I knew better. Rachel wasn't going to stop. She was feeding off my panic, my fear. I realized I had to escalate too. I couldn't just sit there and watch her destroy everything I'd worked for. I needed allies, I needed evidence, and I needed a plan. But even as I started mapping out my next steps, a terrifying thought struck me. She wasn't just messing with my online life anymore. She had crossed a line, and the consequences could reach far beyond the internet. I couldn't do this alone. I needed someone I could trust completely, someone who could help me gather proof without tipping Rachel off. That's when I called Sarah, my oldest friend since high school. "Sarah, I think Rachel is impersonating me online. She's using my photos, my posts, even private messages. She's ruining my life." She blinked, then leaned forward, her voice firm. "Emily, show me everything. We're going to figure this out together." For the next few days, we worked nonstop. Screenshots, timestamps, saved emails, archived posts, every scrap of evidence we could find. Sarah even helped me set up a separate, secure account to track Rachel's activity without her noticing. The more evidence we collected, the angrier I became. Every post, every comment, every lie she had spread, it was all documented.
My hands shook as I scrolled through messages Rachel had sent pretending to be me. Friends had replied, confused or hurt, thinking I'd written those words. And the worst part, some of those posts had gone viral in our small circle of friends. I remember one night sitting on my bed, laptop open, staring at a post Rachel had made that made it look like I had said something cruel about my own family. My parents would see it, my brother, everyone. My chest tightened. How could someone I trusted do this to me? But even as my heart ached, a sense of determination settled over me. This wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming my life, my reputation, and my sense of safety. Sarah looked at me and said, "You know you can expose her. We have everything. She won't be able to deny it." I nodded, swallowing hard. I know, but it's going to get messy. Really messy. She smiled faintly. Messy is okay. You deserve the truth to come out. I wiped my tears and nodded, trying to still myself. She was right. I couldn't control how my family reacted. All I could do was stay focused, gather the rest of my evidence, and prepare for the final confrontation. But the thought of Rachel watching, smiling, knowing my own family might be on her side, it made my blood boil. She had underestimated me, and soon she would regret it. I knew the time had come. I couldn't wait any longer. Rachel had to face the truth, and everyone needed to see it. I invited a few close friends over, and even my parents reluctantly agreed to meet in the living room. I had my laptop ready, every screenshot, every email, every post carefully organized. My hands trembled as I opened the first file, the evidence glaring back at me. "Rachel," I said, my voice steady despite the fury boiling inside me, "I have proof that you've been impersonating me online, using my pictures, my messages, and even posting things to hurt me." Her face went pale for the first time, a flicker of panic in her eyes. She opened her mouth, but I held up a hand. "Don't even try to deny it. Look." I clicked through post after post, message after message. Every lie she had told, every manipulation she had orchestrated, it was all there, undeniable, documented. Friends whispered, my parents gasped, and Rachel's shoulders slumped. You're lying," she finally stammered, her voice shaking. I shook my head. "Don't lie to us. The timestamps, the screenshots, the posts, everything points to you. You've been pretending to be me, destroying my reputation and trying to ruin my life. And now, everyone can see it." For a moment, she tried to argue, to twist the story, but it was useless. The proof was overwhelming. Her lies crumbled in front of everyone, and the look of triumph that used to shine in her eyes was replaced with fear and desperation. My parents didn't speak for us. Then my mom quietly said, "Rachel, how could you?" Her voice was filled with hurt. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and sadness. I had won. The truth was out, and Rachel couldn't deny it anymore. But seeing the disappointment in my family's eyes was a bitter pill to swallow. Rachel slumped into the couch, defeated. "I didn't think it would get this far," she muttered. I looked at her, my voice calm but firm. "It shouldn't have come to this. You made your choice. Now you have to face the consequences." Even as she sat there, broken, I knew the battle wasn't just about exposing her. It was about reclaiming my life, my dignity, and my sense of safety. And for the first time in months, I felt a spark of relief. The day after the confrontation, the house felt different, heavy, like the air itself had been weighed down by months of lies and betrayal. Rachel stayed in her room, barely speaking, and I avoided her. Even though I had exposed her, the tension didn't vanish. It lingered like a shadow, reminding me of just how much had been broken. Friends reached out to check on me, some sending messages of support, some gossiping about what had happened. At work, a few colleagues whispered in the hallway, glancing at me as if I'd been through some scandal. And in a way, I had. But this time, the whispers were different. There was a sense of respect, maybe even admiration for finally standing up and facing what had been done. Family life, though, that was harder. My parents were quiet, still processing. My mom avoided looking directly at me, as if guilt and confusion were battling inside her. Dad was equally distant, and even Jake, my little brother, kept giving me sideways glances, unsure which side to be on. It was strange to feel victorious and isolated at the same time. Rachel didn't leave quietly either. She started messaging mutual friends, trying to explain herself, twisting the story in her favor, painting herself as the victim. But everyone who mattered, the people I trusted most, had already seen the evidence. Slowly, her lies began to crumble outside the walls of our home, too. But the damage she had done lingered. Some friendships had been strained beyond repair. Some people took her side initially, believing her lies over my words. I felt a pang of sorrow as I realized that, even with proof, not everyone would see things the way I did. Trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. Through it all, Sarah remained my anchor. "You did what you had to do," she reminded me one night as we sat in my kitchen, exhausted and emotionally drained. I know, but part of me still feels angry. Angry that someone I trusted, someone I grew up with, could do this, that my own family almost turned against me. It's like the battle isn't just about her, it's about everything I thought was safe in my life. Days turned into weeks. Rachel's social and professional life began to collapse. Her friends distanced themselves, her credibility was gone, and she even faced trouble at work. Seeing her struggle didn't give me joy, it was more of relief that justice, in some form, had been served. But even as she faced her consequences, I realized that victory was complicated. The house slowly returned to a tense normal. Rachel kept her distance and I stayed vigilant, protecting my online presence like never before. I began rebuilding the friendships that had been tested, reconnecting with the people who truly mattered. And though my family started to heal, there was an unspoken understanding. Things would never be the same. Even now, when I think about those months, a mixture of emotions hits me: anger, relief, sadness, and cautious hope. I had survived a betrayal that cut deeper than I ever imagined, and in doing so, I learned just how resilient I could be. Months passed, and life began to settle into a new rhythm. The chaos of the impersonation, the confrontation, and the fallout had finally quieted, leaving a mix of relief and exhaustion in its wake. Rachel kept her distance, mostly staying in her room or out of the house, and I started to reclaim pieces of my life that felt stolen. Work slowly returned to normal. My colleagues treated me with a new level of respect. Some whispered apologies, some nodded with silent admiration. I realized that standing up for myself, even when it meant facing family tension and public scrutiny, had earned me something far more valuable than vindication: self-respect. Family life, though still fragile, began to show signs of healing. My parents approached me cautiously at first, unsure what to say. One evening, my mom placed her hand on mine and said softly, "Emily, I'm sorry we didn't see it sooner. I should have listened, believed you." Her eyes were filled with guilt and love, and I felt a weight lift from my chest. It wouldn't erase the past, but it was a start. Jake, my brother, gave me a small, awkward smile. He said, "I guess I learned a lot too. Never underestimate someone trying to hurt someone else, and never take family loyalty at face value." I smiled back, feeling a sense of quiet triumph. But the lessons went deeper than family. I had learned about boundaries, about standing firm even when others doubted me, and about the danger of letting jealousy and envy fester unchecked. Rachel's betrayal had left scars, yes, but it had also shown me how strong I could be when pushed to my limits. Sitting on my porch one evening, I reflected on everything that had happened: the anger, the fear, the betrayal. It was all behind me, yet a quiet wariness lingered. I knew I'd never be entirely the same again, but that's okay, because I know now I am stronger than anyone who tries to steal my life.